I am a lecturer teaching at a university in Singapore. So I study and research on queer media studies. And I also create content on TikTok. One of my earliest interaction with queer media is actually through a Western media called Will and Grace. At that time, it was still illegal to be gay in Singapore, and I learned so much from the sitcom that it doesn't matter who Will and Jack deal with, they're always brave and honest and true to themselves. So it taught me to be brave myself. And I hope to transfer this braveness to others so that they can live their true lives. And eventually, I just want to consume a lot of queer media, queer Asian media, to counter all the heteronormative, homophobic propaganda that was driven into me for years and years. And that's why I'm researching and writing on queer media. And as a content creator, it's just a creative outlet to express my opinions and also to champion for LGBTQ equality. I think there are a lot of self-doubt in Asian queer media that are absent in Western stories. And this self-doubt can come across as homophobic. I know this sounds very paradoxical because these Asians are risking a lot to produce queer Asian stories. So how can it be homophobic, right? So I'll give you an example. This Taiwanese movie called A Balloon's Landing. It is very obviously a time travel love story between two men, but in nowhere in the movie do they express their affection. And not only so, the marketing for the movie completely ignores the gay aspect. So they just promote it as a buddy movie.
你可以带我去金狮湾吗？
你现在人在台北啊？上。
时间模糊了岁月。
没想到他等了这么多年，终于见到你了。
我就是会记得这些莫名其妙的小事，有人就是不记得。
I understand the position of the marketing because they want to catch as many paying customers to watch the movie as possible. But in the end, it just pleases no one, and it can come across as homophobic in avoiding to mention the love between men. That it is become more open, and I think that's also to cater to the international fans that international fans feedback that they want a certain kind of story to be told, and so the market caters to them. So maybe that's a huge difference, that they want some kissing and they want some NC scenes. I think the popularity of BL is such that it affects the world in two different ways. So one of the ways that it affects, I actually think that the popularity of the BL affects the people in Asia and also the world in two ways. So I know that people all over the world are watching BLGL, and especially women. And this is really great because women can project their fantasies into the stories, allowing themselves a safe space, the freedom to explore their sexuality. And so BLGL has the side benefit of actually promoting for gender equality of women's sexuality. And secondly, these stories actually affects the life in Asia. So for example, Thai BL brings in so much money for the country that it affects the law itself, allowing for gay marriages, changing the law, advocating for the law. So BL stories actually physically change the lives of people in Asia. I think in general, the direction is towards the correct direction. It's slowly moving towards opening up. Like for example, in Singapore, we just got rid. I think in at the end of 2023, we just got rid of the anti-gay law. So now it's legal to be gay in Singapore for the past 2 years. Um, so in the general direction is this in the right direction that we move towards more equality and more freedom. But I think perhaps it may take some time because I think that in Japanese BL, they have a lot of they present a lot of their own culture. And so we actually pick up on some of the Japanese culture in their BL. But in Thai BL, because it's so popular worldwide, right? They want to cater to an international audience. And so sometimes the culture itself isn't so obvious. But I realized that there's a trend in the past year to change this kind of storytelling. So now in the past year, they are actually making Thai BL more culturally specific to Thailand. And so that may change in time to come. But right now, I feel like the Thai BL general direction is still quite diluted, so it doesn't really show a lot of Thai culture for the past few years. So the most recent one, obviously, is Osan's Love, right?
Yeah.
And the Thai version actually shows their own different interpretation, adapting it to their own culture. But a lot of the shows before that, so for example, if My Love Mix Up, the Thai version is very, very similar to the Japanese version. Yeah, I actually like because the Thai BL industry is so massive and is so international, right? I actually like Thai BL industry to be more careful and more sensitive. I understand that they have good intentions, but sometimes the meaning behind the stories can come across as transphobic or with internalized, deep-rooted homophobia. And so I hope that they can be more careful in telling the stories or in getting more education about media and how to present this kind of stories to other people. So I want to introduce Alfian Sat. He's a Singapore writer. So he writes this trilogy of plays called Asian Boys. It's about being gay in Singapore. Um, and the second book I want to recommend is Bai Xian Yong's Crystal Boys. It's set in 70s Taiwan about a group of boys being chased out of their homes for being gay, but it still feels very fresh and relevant. And the third book I want to recommend is Ryu's Murakami's Coin Locker Babies. It's about the lives of two babies who are being left in coin lockers to die, and one of them grows out to be a drag queen. I like Cherry Magic so much, the Japan version so much. And I like this very I like this 1990s Hong Kong movie called She's a Man, He's a Woman. It's by Leslie Chong and Anita Yuan, who was the beauty queen in Hong Kong. So it is about Anita who pretends to be a boy to enter a singing competition, and Leslie Chong actually fell in love with them, not knowing that she's a girl. Yeah. What makes me like Cherry Magic? I think it's so wholesome that that two men can actually fall in love after 7 years of knowing each other. And I also think that it is quite explicit sexually, also in the way that they talk about sex in the way that he's a virgin and he didn't have any sex, and that he will lose his power once he has sex. Yeah. Actually, okay, this is going to be a very dangerous kind of genre because I actually like um I actually like stories that fight against the oppression of LGBTQ, but it must be done in an organic and non-preachy way. But I find that this is a very dangerous genre because it takes a lot of courage to produce queer stories in Asia because of a lot of governments in Asia are authoritarian, right? And they try to clamp down on these stories. And it's also difficult to get funding because all these productions at the end of the day they want to make money. So people fund it because they want to make money in the end. So it's very difficult to get funding if it doesn't make money. And also that the actors and directors and writers are so brave in portraying these stories. But so this is kind of genre that I like to see more in Asia, that it fights against oppression of LGBTQ. Nothing else to share, but I just want to say thank you so much for doing this and
that's
for helping to spread like queer stories everywhere. And I feel so privileged to be part of this New Zealand's Pride Month. So thank you so much. Yeah, it's really, really difficult for Asians to come out to be brave because it's just not in our culture. I guess our culture is more collective. I mean, I don't know whether you watched the last episode, the special episode of My Youth. Yeah, heartbreaking for me because I feel like, oh, I can really identify with it. You know, the scene when they were trying to come out in front of a group of friends and then they just couldn't come out because the friends kept saying things. But
Yeah.
the friends didn't have ill intention at all. The friends actually are just saying normal things, but it's just so difficult. Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you so much.